So we can go one down.
Or Colin, he sends me.
All right, we're being recorded, be careful what you say.
Okay. Yes, I need that.
All right, I'd like to bring the meeting to order at 6 o'clock for the April 16th Budget Committee meeting. Please stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, starting from my left, if we could have a roll call to see who's here.
Dennis Woods.
All the way to that.
All the way.
All the way to that. Far left, far left.
I gotta write that down.
David Carpus.
No, I already said it. No, Dennis Woods. Sorry.
Bob Carrier.
Humphrey Williams.
Tammy Smith.
Thomas McDougall. And we have a quorum. Woohoo. Okay, was everybody able to get a copy of the bylaws?
Yes.
Does anybody have any changes they would like to make to said bylaw?
Yes.
Yes.
You had some.
What it is, I got copies, and because there's some that I marked them in myself for changes. So what happened to my copies?
Your copies?
Yeah.
They're underneath.
No, I had a whole set of them.
Oh, is this it?
Yeah.
That's
Thank
what you just said it was extra, so.
Oh, yeah, actually, it's the same thing. I don't know if you need. Anybody need them?
Oh, those are the bylaws themselves,
Yeah,
okay.
these are the bylaws.
Yeah. Anybody have?
You want me to start?
You're all set.
You had your changes marked in there too, right?
Page 1,
I got
membership. Unless I missed it, where does it say how many members the committee has?
No, I believe that's covered in the RSA 32.
Probably should be. When we talk about membership, it probably should state the number.
But now, if you state it in
Members
here,
and
now
board.
you're containing information in two spots, the RSA and here.
Yep.
If the RSA changes, you've got to remember to change it in here. If you
Okay.
reference just the RSA and it changes, we're covered because it's there.
Okay, I'll go on record for disagreeing with that.
Okay, but I mean, we can bring it up and change it. That's.
Yep.
But that was the thought as to why not have the number here, because it's referenced elsewhere.
Right. Okay.
We're still in that section under organization. I was looking at it, Tom, in regards to some of the other things too, for consistency in the wording. So just before in section B, sentence number 2, between following and annual, put the word "the" only because it's in there in various ways. So everywhere else it says that, what they're looking for is the annual town meeting. Doesn't make a big deal. but-
Hey, Chair, I don't understand what you're talking about.
Okay,
Chair and Vice Chair.
under organization.
Yeah,
Under
yeah,
B for officers.
yep, number 2.
So it says a chair and vice chair shall be elected at the first regularly scheduled meeting following, I just put the word "the" in annual town meeting because we've got it in various ways. It's spelled out in some ways, the annual town meeting, in other cases just says.
Oh, okay, so for
I'm
you
just
saying
looking
for
for
consistency.
Yeah.
Anybody?
Yeah, what it would be is our regular scheduled meetings. That's how
Yeah.
that's where we do
Yeah.
ours. It's in March, the third week of March.
Yep, but I think what Dennis is saying is to make the wording of annual town meeting
Yeah.
the annual town meeting,
That's
because
all.
that's how we reference it elsewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all.
He's just trying to make the wording consistent where we have.
Some
town
places it
meeting
says,
and-
some places it says the town meeting, and other places it doesn't, so it's just a,
Well, do you want to make the corrections on that?
yeah, I've got it here if you want to keep it. I mean,
Well,
I'll-
This is
It-
where we're
it-
doing
this-
this.
Yeah, does,
It's whether anybody agrees, that's another thing.
make a motion, we'll find out.
Okay, I make the motion that we put the word "the" in between following and annual town meeting.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion on it?
Want to specify exactly where in the document we're referring to?
It's on the
Section-
first page under organization.
Yep, section
for
2,
Section 2.
part B,
Part
number
B,
2.
yeah, sentence number 2.
And so the wording would be changed to A, chair and vice chair shall be elected at the first regularly scheduled meeting following the annual town meeting, but not later than April 30th.
Yes.
Okay, motion on the floor, we had a second, we discussed it. Have a vote, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. Sounded unanimous. All right. Hang on just a second there, Mr. Carpenter, let me get it.
Yep.
Let me try to change it here. Where'd it go? Well, I got it open. All right. Is it not letting me? Gotta be kidding. All right, we'll make a note. It's not letting me edit it here on the fly, so.
I've got it marked here, Tom. I can keep track of it.
Okay, if you want to keep track of the
Yeah.
changes that we make,
Yep.
let me have them, and I'll get them updated. I don't know why it's giving me a fit.
Yeah, that's
Okay, Mr. Carpus.
In reference to Mr. Wood's comment about the needing the number,
Yep,
and it's referencing RSA 32. RSA 32, 15 budget committee memberships. 1, the budget committee shall consist of A, 3 to 12 members at large. It doesn't specify the exact number. It
okay.
leaves it open to how many. So we should include how many in our
Yep,
bylaws
yep.
if we're going to have specifically 7
I think that's 5.
or 8 or whatever.
Well,
We got 5 with 3 at large.
Yes, 3 to 12 members at large.
Okay.
So we need to specify how many at large with, and then it also specifically specifies that if municipality is a town, 1 member of the school board. And I don't think it mentions anything specifically about the water district, but
It does.
Yeah, it does. I read that
it must,
earlier. David.
it's in a different section of it though,
It is
but
in there.
And how many are actually
Okay.
voting members and
We are, all the members are voting members.
Yes.
including ex officios?
Yes.
yes.
Yep.
Because our committee's bylaws say different for us.
Okay,
But,
well,
just
Okay,
putting that
so I know where we are. Where are
Some
we?
are different.
Okay,
Still under the
so,
membership.
so we are still under number 2, organization.
Okay.
Right there. Dennis brought up the fact that we don't, and I thought the RSA spelled out how many members up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't. So we have a total of, I think, 6 elected members, right?
Yes, we still have
And
6 at
and
large.
3,
3 at large.
okay, so let's put 3 or 6,
Are at large,
Okay.
yes, 6
And-
at-large members
and 3 representatives.
and and 3 representatives from the Board of Selectmen.
One for the school board,
Yeah,
one from the
School Board,
selectmen.
Board of Selectmen, and Water District.
3
Right.
reps, 1
So that
each.
we should spell
One
that
each.
out.
Yeah, specify where.
More
Yeah.
information's better.
Yeah.
Did you get what I said?
Yeah, 1 selectman,
3
1.
reps, 1 each from Board of Selectmen, School Board, and Water District.
All right. Okay, anybody else on page 1?
You need to take a vote on that, Mr. Chairman.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, yes we do. Okay, actually, since we're making more than just a couple of grammatical changes, should we get our changes all together? I will update the document, send it back out, and make sure everybody's okay with the wording. And then we'll give the final vote on the budget, or on the bylaws at our next meeting.
Okay.
I think
Everybody?
it'll be easier, because
That's what I'm thinking, because that way it avoids, hey, this is what it will be, because I'll get the notes from Humphrey, I'll modify the document, post it back up on the shared drive, and I think that'll be easier.
So the only thing because I'm writing it down, we want to say reps or representatives.
Representative.
Yeah, spell it out.
Sorry,
Yeah, I want to make sure, that's all.
shorthand.
Well, that's kind
Yeah.
of what I'm doing. Everything's shorthand these days.
And, yeah, LOL.
Okay, so I move that we table the voting on this on our bylaws until the next meeting, until such time as
see the
everybody
complete thing.
can make updates to it, that we can consolidate.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Yeah.
All right.
Opposed? Chair votes aye. Okay. Okay, that pretty much page 1. Page 2, does anybody see anything?
Have we ever had a situation where the chair and vice chair weren't available?
I do not believe that we've ever had that situation.
Do we need to go any further than that, or
There is a.
tap something on the end of it, or?
No, there is a provision in here, I don't know whereabouts it is, but there is what the at-large members would elect
Chair for
a
that meeting.
a member pro tem, that one meeting only.
Okay,
It is in here, and I think if you go further down, you'll see it.
okay.
I do have something on page 2.
Okay?
Okay, and it's responsibility duties of the committee, section B, and it's that first, well, dot, whatever you want to call it. If it's a member of, or if a member or members are unable to make a meeting but wish to participate at the meeting by speakerphone, shall notify the chair in advance. I crossed out and shall be considered present, chairman's discretion. I kept and must be approved by the majority of members physically present. I believe I saw this somewhere that it is an option.
Okay, so,
But in my case, well, first of all, better if we need a motion, then we can discuss it, possibly.
so I want to, so what you're, okay, so Bob's proposing a change to the first bullet
Mm-hmm.
under Part B, which is basically attending the meeting remotely by telephone. And what I don't quite understand, so you basically said they'll notify the chairman in advance, and if the committee approves it, they'll be permitted to attend.
Yes.
Okay, so-
It is an option if this committee
Yeah.
wants to do it. I saw it someplace in one of the chapters that you
Yeah,
sent out.
that's part of the budget, or the municipal law, I guess.
Yes, it is.
Is allowing members to participate as long as there is a quorum physically present.
That's why I put the members physically present, because somebody may not, some members
Yeah.
may not want this, but
Yeah,
it's an
and-
option. So either we keep it
Yeah.
or we get rid of it. It's up to you, the
Yeah,
committee.
Tom, I'd like to make a suggestion, so I'm not trying to write all this down. Bob, you've got your, if we agree with yours, I'd like to take both and then give it to you.
Okay.
So I don't have to write down what you've already
So
typed.
you're recording all the changes?
I'm
that
trying to
we're doing.
record the changes,
Okay.
but I think it
Yeah.
might be.
Okay.
So if you've got them in here, I just want to be able to do that, that's all. Okay. I don't want to be, I'm just going to keep both.
I
So
have extra copies if anybody needs it, because I made changes to all copies, so it's up to the committee what they would like to do. We can
Yeah,
either,
let's go through, read it. Like I said, I'll consolidate all the changes when we get done. And, because we're gonna vote, the final vote will be
That's
on
right.
this. If we're not voting on it tonight, it will be at our next meeting.
Yeah.
Yep.
When everybody's had a chance. Now, I'll hopefully get this done, by the weekend.
So it's, you lined out the and shall be considered present, chairman's discretion, and put in, it must be approved by the majority of members physically present.
Yeah,
Yep,
and-
whatever I didn't scratch out, that
Yep.
stays.
yeah.
So you
And,
want
and we, down below, we talk about the number of meters that have to be, members have to be present.
Right.
And so on. Okay, anybody have any heartburn over that? That change, wanna change it?
That was a good one.
Okay,
to, so, make a motion that we make a change as addressed by Bob to line out the and shall be considered present, chairman's discretion, and add and must be approved by the majority of members physically present.
have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, any further discussion?
Yeah, I thought we made a motion to wait until we got the final.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about just, yeah, you're right, maybe we can do it that way and just,
Yeah.
Do it that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, go,
Get the
maybe
final
just
copy.
breeze
Okay,
through
that's
them all
fine.
Yeah,
again.
yeah, and then
Sorry.
I'll
that's
Yeah.
bring
fine,
them together.
Yeah.
that'll work.
'Cause I-
Okay, we got a motion and a second on the table. Do you want to withdraw your second, Andy? I'll freaking withdraw his motion.
Yep, and I'll withdraw my
Okay.
motion.
All right, on to the next.
Okay, right. Oop.
Yes,
Yep.
we're going the same place, Peg, I think.
All right, the next bullet down, capitalized 5,
Oh, I'm going the second.
consistency.
Okay, so the next bullet after that,
I bet you want a comma.
well, I want to say if a member is frequently unable, comma, meetings, comma, lowercase I.
Yes.
Which-
I think that's it.
And the engineer in me says, can we define frequently?
More than once.
How many meetings are you able to miss before it's considered a problem? One?
It's 3.
Up
Three?
above, we talk about three consecutive meetings, so I would think 3 to 4. And we only have 12 regularly scheduled meetings throughout the year. If you've missed a third of them,
What about budget meetings?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was gonna say that. if
That's,
you
those are,
miss
it's a
four,
different
those are the
weight on
ones.
the meetings. If you
Yeah.
miss this one, it's nowhere near as big of a deal as if you
Yeah.
miss one in like November.
But it's still consecutives if you miss, even if during the budget season, because if you miss that many, you've lost just about everything. That's why there's a provision in there, call in to be excused, so that you can follow the meetings by YouTube.
Okay, so,
Okay, what was the thing again, the comma?
So that sounds like what that should say is if a member is unable to attend 3 consecutive meetings.
Okay, that is a different definition, Mr. Chairman, because what it is, if they are unable to, then there's a difference of being excused.
unexcused meetings.
Unexcused.
yeah, 3
Yeah.
is unexcused. Up above is unexcused. And down below it's if he's frequently, okay.
It's kind of just, yeah, because it's up there already, so.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I guess it's gonna be like on and off, and if you're gonna start missing, I know it's not consecutive, but if you are not gonna be able to make the commitment, maybe that should be taken out.
Yeah, I honestly don't know that we've ever had an issue with that.
No, we never did. Most everybody would not.
Which
Maybe,
we
So
can
you're saying take that.
Do we
take
even
the
take,
know
bullet
that we
one?
take that
needed
bullet
it?
out.
Because it's
it doesn't need-
defined above.
It's
Yeah,
already in
yeah,
the
well,
opening.
it's
already.
already-
Probably remove that bullet and the one below.
Is
Yeah,
it,
the-
okay, yeah.
okay, Sherry, you got this?
Yeah, it's kind of redundant.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
line them out.
'Cause I think-
remove, Humphrey's making notes on it. I'll
Yeah.
get everything updated.
So we're gonna line those,
Yep.
those 2 bullets out,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Okay, anybody else have any? Anything else on that page? Okay, on to page 3. We've only got 5 more pages to go.
I actually got the same comment, and it might make it easier to just say that on that page, there's 3 places in the first, under organizational meeting, regular meeting. There's 2 under organizational meeting, regular meeting, where we're just putting the word "the" in underneath, between town, before town meeting.
Okay.
I
Oh, yeah.
added annual, just for consistency.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
not a bad way to do it.
Okay.
I'll put that in there too. I thought of that after the other
Right.
one, so.
Okay, and same page, under regular meetings, I think that should say upon, I'm sorry, I'm gonna read it again, shall be agreed upon at the second regular meeting.
Oh,
Yes.
that's a good point, yep.
Yep, good point.
I would suggest not using the word "at," but "by," giving you the option of, you might do it
Oh, by the.
at the first meeting. It's like, it just has to be done by the second. You might actually be able to do it in the first meeting after the meeting.
Yep, that's a good point.
That'll work.
Except, I'm just thinking, Tom, are people even, whatever we are, sworn in?
Yeah.
By the,
Both.
By
By
the
the
first
first one,
meeting.
yeah, it's both.
I don't think they are. I think
Well,
that's why last year we talked about having it at the second
And,
meeting.
but I think that's why it says, if we put having it by the second meeting instead of saying it has to be done at the first.
Okay,
That gives you the option to go into the second meeting.
Yep.
yeah, because I don't think people are sworn in by the first meeting.
Yeah.
Sometimes they are,
We were
because if
sworn
we have a
before.
selectman
Yeah.
rep present, they can swear you in
Right.
right then and there, and you're,
This.
Ah, that's not a big deal. I've interrupted meetings with our plant manager with my phone ringing before.
I'm gonna shut it off. I meant to do that. Yeah, so my apologies.
Oh,
I usually catch
like I
that.
said, now that you've done that.
You
now
made
mine's
me
already
realize it, and I
vibrating.
just shut mine down, so.
All right.
All right, so we're gonna put the word by in there, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, next item. Anybody have?
You had something too on yours.
Yeah, I closed it out because it does not, special meetings, but maybe called in 2 ways, but there's only one that is noticed. There is another way possibly, but I don't see it. I put budget workshop in that, but that is
You scratched that.
special meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is not the one that you can call in 2 ways,
No, so you're all
Yeah.
set on
we
it.
may have to drop it down to 1, because I can't think of another one that would call.
You're saying being called in 2 ways. You're thinking the only way it can be called is with the chair giving 48 hours notice?
Unless there's another way. I can't think of one offhand.
The 3 by, that
Yeah,
request
The
of 3
request
second
of
one.
3 members, the second line
Yeah.
item in there.
And, oh,
If 3 of us want it.
okay.
Yeah.
so maybe the semicolon needs to be replaced by the word or, maybe called in 2 ways, by the chair with 48 hours notice, or upon written request of 3 members of the committee.
Okay.
That could work.
I think if I would have saw that, I might have not done it. So, okay,
Okay.
so there is 2 in there.
Yep.
Well, we may as well fix that anyways, because called,
Yeah.
you got 1 by the chair, so is it,
But we still have to provide 48 hours worth of notice, right?
yeah. well, that's-
Regardless of how the special meeting is
Correct.
called by the chair or,
Yeah,
That
that's
request
kind
of
of
the
why I
members.
want to also address it, because we got 1 by the chair, and it should be 2 upon written request, or
Yeah.
within 48
Yep.
hours, or something to that effect.
yeah, by the chair or upon written request of the 3 members of the committee
Yep.
with 48 hours.
Yep.
Or
We don't need the number 1 in there,
Yeah.
is what I'm getting at.
Maybe called within, or maybe called with 48 hours notice in 2 ways, by
Yeah.
the chair
Yep.
or
Yeah.
upon written request of 3 committee members.
Okay, does the retired teacher down there agree with that syntax?
Sure,
All right.
I'll check it out when the final one comes out.
So I'm taking out the 1, and I'm gonna put in or.
All right.
Got it? Okay. I got those.
Okay, anything else on this?
When I was reading through this, I got to subcommittee meetings and didn't quite understand the definition of subcommittee meetings.
That's if we were to decide to have a committee, form a group of, say, 3 members to,
Non-quorum size.
yeah, well, there will be a quorum for the subcommittee, and I believe they still have to adhere to the rules of meetings. But this is, the subcommittee would be if we wanted to investigate the price of, the town's paying for salt. And we said, we're gonna form a subcommittee to investigate the price of salt for the town.
Right.
And that, they go off, they do their thing, and then they come back and report at the next meeting or 2.
Okay.
That's what the subcommittee is.
Okay. I understand the generic
yeah,
meaning
but
of a
that-
subcommittee, but I,
Yeah, we
in
don't have
this
it. We have-
context,
Yeah, we haven't
I
had
didn't
any
see a
here.
definition of
Yeah, we
it,
haven't
so-
had any here, and it's,
Okay.
if we decided to form one for whatever reason, it's, there'll be, that just says how you call the meeting,
Yep, okay.
so. So I guess I need to publish our regular meeting, 3rd Wednesday of the month, 3rd Tuesday of the month.
Where's that, Tom?
Our regular
Number
meetings,
8 on the same page.
yeah, bottom of it,
Yep.
it says, schedule of meetings, the schedule of regular meetings shall be published annually by the chair.
Oh, okay. You're gonna- Yeah. In
Yeah,
other words,
third-
you're gonna
Third
do
Tu-
that.
Third Tuesday of the month,
Yeah.
6 o'clock, down
Is
hall.
that published? I don't see that anywhere, Tom.
Number 8.
What's that? Yeah. Give me something to throw at her. All right, no picking on the chairman.
I didn't see that in the bylaws.
We're gonna add it, you'll see it in the new edition. You'll see it
We're
in the next
allowed to
version.
pick on
Trying to-
the chair, come on.
Trying to help you, Peg.
That's in my bylaws.
Thank you. Marital bylaws.
We're the bylaws, the wife is correct.
She's the only, yeah. He's the only one that's allowed to criticize.
Oh,
Okay.
permission.
Okay.
So we're on
Next
page
item
4.
somebody's got.
So we're on page 4, right?
Yes, we are on page 4.
I had the annual town meeting part
Okay,
again
all right, yep, well,
in there.
yep.
And
But you have something written down
Under-
here too, Bob.
Yeah, on C, review of audit reports, I was going to eliminate it, but it does exist. I was looking at the 2017 audit, and page 6 does have the departments, how much they spent, and on the top of that, they have the revenues that came in, but they also have 2017 there, and 2016 show the difference between the two. And I took page 7, because I did print it out. What I was really looking for is and I found it's the unassigned fund balance. That's, to me, is important. It's money that has not been assigned to anywhere.
Yep.
And if any case we need, and this is not the emergency one, because it's in the general fund, this is one that extra money came in. It's not assigned to anything. If something occurs, we can tap into it. So I'm not gonna cross that out.
Okay,
because it does
yep.
exist. We don't have the 2018 audit
Yeah,
yet.
that's what I was just thinking that according to this, we should have it prior to town meeting, but
We should have it.
we can look into where the audit's at. But,
Just real quick, the department heads are not listed as they should be. It's almost like the MS 737. They're tied into other ones in there, so you have to
Okay.
kind of sort out what was in it, so. Okay, I don't want to take that one out. It's gonna
Okay.
stay.
No, that's okay.
all right,
under role of the chair,
yep,
it's just another typo, I think, on item 6, down below, where it says the chair things is it viable?
Oh,
I think
yeah,
that's what
yeah.
should be.
Thanks.
Things, or maybe deems, or,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Where's that
something
one,
like
Dennis?
That is-
Item 6,
Item 6, okay?
next to the last paragraph, line.
The line that
Oh.
starts the chair.
I got
Chair
it, thinks.
things.
Yeah, I got it.
yeah,
We actually had some on
Good.
section E too that
Good
you would
catch.
make changes on.
Good catch.
Right.
Yeah, well, I haven't got to them yet. Did everybody get done the roller chair?
okay,
Okay, the order of business or agenda, but this is recommended as follows. I scratched out new business, and in its place, I wanted to put other business that may come before the board. Because I've never seen that new
Yeah.
business put in. The next one, number 7, citizens' comments. I put public comments or questions. I don't like to limit to just comments. We give them some questions,
Yeah.
we give them an opportunity. The other one, members' comments, I just scratched it out because we did use it at one time, but we haven't used it since. So it's up to the committee
Yeah.
whether they want to change it or not.
Well,
That's just to look at.
well, I look at this as just being a guideline of things you
Yes.
might want to put in it, and I don't know that our agenda has all these in it right now, so,
They do.
Yeah.
All
Does it?
but the members' comments.
okay,
Yep, that's the only thing I don't have. But if you
Yeah.
want it's just a recommendation, but I thought, I've been using it last year, and
yeah,
if the committee wants to give it, okay, if not, that's fine.
all right,
It's just a recommendation.
what's everybody's thought on that? Change it, leave it as it is?
When we bring it back,
Okay,
we can
yep.
vote on it.
Okay, all right,
I got it marked, so.
okay. All right, are we done with page 4, is it?
Yes,
All right, anybody have anything on page 5?
I do.
Okay,
On G, role
Yep.
of the recording secretary clerk,
yep,
right near the bottom, and it's number 2. I don't want to read the whole thing, but if you look at the lines, let's see, 1, 2,
Starting with,
yeah, starting with the meetings. Let's see, 1, 2, go to the third line upward, where it says, keeping the minutes of the meetings.
yep,
It is the duty of the recording clerk to keep a roll of members and to call the roll when required. We have never done it. I was going to use it last year, but everything, as usual, got chaotic, and I never called it. We never used it because the chair always made the call.
yeah.
So I don't feel that it needs to be in there. It would be useful for the clerk.
But, the way it's written now, it says to keep a roll of members and to call the roll when required. If the chairman calls it, it's not required, so they don't have to do it. If the chairman forgets to, or
it would almost help the recording clerk, because then she keeps track of the roll, and then she can give us the number right away, but it's always been that the chair has done it. It was put in, I wanted to use it, but
Yeah, no, we can leave it there. It's when required. If the chairman forgets to call a roll, then recording clerk can ask to have a roll call.
the Sherry would have to speak up and say,
Not that I would ever speak.
She can throw something at us. She can throw
Never
something at
heard
us.
you once.
okay, that's fine with me, I just put it
Okay,
in
all
there.
right. And,
Action up there.
okay, hey, we're getting there on page 6.
I got the top of page 6. We had, it's then, and there's 2 places. If the committee decides not to, the word should be then. And the same thing
Okay.
goes on in the next,
Yeah.
same thing in the next bullet, instead of the word then, should be then.
Okay, yeah, okay. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna retire.
I ran training at the shipyard, so I'm used to these things.
Yeah, they always laugh at me because I'm the teacher.
Yeah, I was too.
She is retired,
I know.
right?
Should I quit?
Okay.
And me too when they're retired.
Anybody else have anything on page 6? Hey, be
It's
careful.
an easy one.
Careful, we'll have gone through this and only taken us 40 minutes? Shouldn't say that yet, should I?
Nope.
All right, anybody have anything on page 7?
I'd like to talk about something on page 7, don't
Yeah.
know so much. It's under the procedure for reviews of budget, and this kind of goes along with, I think, part of the subject we're going to get into later
Yeah.
on in this. This is talking about having shall be required by October 1st, and I know I've talked before about, I think it should be done 6 months before should be done earlier, whether we pick 6 months before, but everywhere I've ever dealt with a budget was always done in a minimum of 6 months before the new budget takes place. So to wait till October 1st is kind of making it very difficult for us to do some of the things we need to do at the end of the year. So, to me, I think they'd also need to address in here about meeting with the department heads during that time frame. I think, I don't know how to put the words in yet,
Yeah,
Tom. It's just that I think we need to discuss this.
I hear what you're saying.
Yep.
I would like to see if we could get it done before then, but the way that our town is structured to do budgets at the present, I think it would be difficult to have stuff presented earlier, just because it's not, we haven't, we're sort of talking about doing something new with stuff that's gonna come up later, and
Correct.
and I don't know that this is the best time to modify that date. Bob, you had something to?
this says capital expenditures. I know we're going to get something from the planning board, the CIP, the
Yep.
ones that they're going to finalize. That's going to be the capital expenditures. We're going to get a 79-page report on that. And if I can remember right, maybe Mr. Rawson can help me on that, somewhere in December, the planning board's going to submit their recommendations, and it'll be up to the selectmen to choose which one they're going to fund, right? Somewhere near, Mr. Chairman? Yep. I'm not chairman. He was actually former chairman.
That's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right, Bob.
Well,
Yeah, okay, because I think it comes out about that time.
yeah. Well, when I go back and look at what it says fixed expenses, capital expenditure outlay. The capital expenditure outlay would come from the CIP. The fixed expenses would be the expenses that the departments know they're going to have.
Yes.
And I would hesitate to put that in our bylaws now, because we're just, like I said, stuff's gonna come up later, try something a little bit different this year. And trying to hold feet to the fire right now, when you think about it, 6 months, you only got 2 more months.
yeah,
So-
the end of it would be, the end of June. is
Yeah,
what we're talking.
you only got 2 months, so 2.5 months.
Well, that's why I said I wanted to briefly touch on it, but I do think we should put something in here about meeting with the department heads on that. And I didn't see anything in here for that.
It's something new, something we're trying. Dave?
I guess one thing we can probably do relatively easy right now is split that into two. Even if it's the same date, split it between the fixed expenditures versus the capital expenditures are going to be separate. We might be able to get the fixed expenditures earlier. We are not going to get the capital expenditures earlier because that's coming from the CIP and they won't be done by whenever their date is. But we might be able to get the fixed expenditures, which still will give us a lot more time to do stuff. That seems to be the one we have the most discussion and debate on anyway.
Right.
So let's try and get those earlier, and those are probably easier to get because those are forecasted from historical. They should be able to come up with those numbers. They don't have to wait until the end of their fiscal year to come up with those.
Yep. Yes, Peg?
Yeah, I just have a question. I understand what you're asking, but our fiscal year does not start until July 1. So by October 1st, we're like, what, 4 months, 5 months into the year?
Oh, I know this. That's kind of, you're right, Peg. Because I was talking the town piece
Okay,
on this,
all right.
not the school piece on this.
Okay.
So no, well, and that's just it. There's two different
I know.
fiscal years going here, but one way or the other, if we wait for all of them till the end, that's why we scramble. So
I know, and it's interesting because we're generally ready.
and then we're still
before the
making you
town.
wait.
Yeah.
So, and we're partway through our fiscal year.
Okay,
So yeah, maybe we can split that one item into multiple, so we can kind of break it up so that it's phased, so that we're not getting all the school and all the town all at once right at the end. Is like, if the school's ready 3 months before the town, let's do the school.
do it. Yeah.
Let's just do them first instead of the town.
but again, remember that we can't, we could look at the numbers in June that we might have, but we can't really, we can look at them, get familiar with it, ask questions about them, but the final vote comes in after we've got all of the budgets. So that's just something to remember, that it gets us more familiar with it, but it doesn't necessarily mean that, and it probably will spread the time out. I don't know that it would it saves big blocks of time at the end, but if it takes you 5 hours to look at budgets and you spend an hour now, it's going to take what it takes to do the budget, whether you spread that out or if you do it all at the end. That's
Well, the other reason for bringing it up too is that this is the initial request, and it still throws me to see that October 1st is under the initial, but September 1st is on the final, on the very next paragraph. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. Those kind of, as you notice, identification of warrant articles is a September 1st under a final request. That's to try to get some of the, so I'm just saying, we've got some variation here is the reason I think we need to do something a little different. Not saying we're gonna iron it all out at this point, but I think maybe
Especially
what
because
Dave's
one of the
talking.
warrant articles is what the final budget, one of the warrant articles is the budget, and
Right.
we don't even get the
Exactly,
request until
Yeah.
after that.
yeah, so,
But remember, the warrant articles are the big ones, the ones that we have that we can affect, or that we, I shouldn't say affect, vote on or get input into. These could typically come from the CIP, all right? So, and Andy can correct me if I'm wrong, but the big warrant articles, you want to pave the road going to the transfer station. That would be on a warrant article. So that's something that would come out of the CIP. and that specifically speaks to the warrant articles, not the fixed expenditures of the budget, which, the fixed expenditures of the budget are going to be the maintenance for the town-owned equipment. It's going to be the salt that he's going to buy year to year. It's going to be the sand. That's the type of fixed expenses that, honestly, Pat could probably tell you what that's going to be come July, just because of historical data. Of course, this year kind of threw him in a tizzy a little bit, but
It kind of sounds like to me that maybe we ought to take a look at rewriting this whole
This whole section.
that section on how the
To
process.
clarify, put it, in a kind of a step-by-step format, because otherwise it's, everybody's got their own
Yeah.
opinion on different pieces of it.
Okay, I tell you what, to help speed us along, and I think I jinxed us by saying 40 minutes. I should have known better.
We're pretty
Why
close.
why don't I'll rewrite section 7, and I'll break out number 2 into fixed expenditures and capital expenditures into 2 bits, and then I'll try to figure out how to get the dates to line up so that because you're right, if capital expenditures come from the CIP, the warrant articles come from the CIP, our warrant articles at the 1st of September, and capital expenditures at
The end of
October 1st.
Right.
So that does not make a lot of sense to have the numbers line up like that.
No.
So, how about if we do that? I'll come up with something and we'll read it. We'll look at it
Yeah.
again.
Yep.
And
And I got some notes that you can use
yeah,
as you see fit.
hand them to me. Like I said, yes, Mr. Bob.
Are we gonna change the way we do things here? Like, it's always been like November, we have the budget. The selectmen started in October, and in November, we do the school, we do the town, but last year we did the school, which was not a great idea. The town goes there, then, December, we do the school. Okay, somewhere before that, there's the warrant articles that are still open until a certain date.
Yeah.
I don't have the RSA for it, but it's one of the important dates, that's the final day that those
Yeah.
warrant articles are gonna be taken out, brought out.
Yeah.
January? Is that?
It has to be done before the public hearing. We have to have the budget, we
Right.
have to have the warrant articles, so we can put it together, so we have the public hearing, we go through all warrants, because that warrant is going to go to the deliberative session.
Right, but I just
Yep.
remember with the teacher's contract, the CBA last year, January 8th
That was the
final
deadline.
Yeah.
deadline on that one.
For getting the
Yep.
last of
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
warrant
so-
articles and all that.
So,
Yeah.
so
And that was a
Just
warrant
the-
article.
It was just the, what is it? It's contracts.
Right, the CBA.
collective bargaining agreement.
Yeah,
Collective bargaining,
because
right.
January 8th was the cutoff, and that's
Right.
why we had to push it a little soon, because your public hearing was January 10th.
Right,
I don't have a lot of wiggle room, because January 10th, then you got January 15th is the last day you can hold a public hearing.
Yeah.
right.
See,
And
but if we can move some of this up, or try to get some, one of the things that we might like to do is have the department heads present, and I think we've talked about this before, to the selectmen and the budget
At
committee.
the same time.
Give the same presentation, and then we go back and we don't, we could maybe ask questions, but about what a line item might be, but not anything about money, until the selectmen say, this is what we're gonna present to the budget committee. And we talked about doing that, but that should occur well before the dates that we have to meet. And we're talking about moving these dates forward a little bit, not back. So that should help us meet the dates for the warrant articles and things like that easier.
Okay,
It should.
okay, I haven't got no problem with that, because I'm gonna bring something up myself. Not right now,
Yep.
it could be
Okay.
on any
Yeah.
other business.
Okay.
But I wanna see what you come up with.
All right. Okay, so I'll read.
I
Yes,
have another thing. If we just move back quickly to, page 6. There should be a deletion of the space in between numbers 4 and number 5.
okay.
Yep.
Sorry, missed that first time around.
All right, so,
Phew.
okay, number 3 is basically what they're gonna give us for the review of the budgets. Or section 3 there. 8, we're on page 8. Anybody have any comments on page 8? All right. As we talked about, I'll take Bob and Humphrey's comments, gather them all together, send a notice out to everybody when I've got the bylaws updated.
Okay, you'll send them out to us ahead of the meeting.
Yep, oh yeah,
You're gonna put them out on the shared.
yep,
drive, right?
yep, just like I did before.
Okay.
see. And, yeah, there we go. Back to my agenda. Okay, we talked last time about setting up some meetings with the department heads or exploring that with them to get us a little more familiar with the various line items that are in the department's budgets. For example, highway department has lines for maintenance, lines for basically consumable equipment like oil and filters and that kind of thing. You know, a meeting with the department heads at their place of business, if you will, so we can sort of touchy-feely to get ourselves familiar with what are in the lines, and in an attempt to reduce the number of questions, because it seems like every year we've got the same questions. You know, what's this line for? What's that line for? And I'm thinking if we can meet, and I'm thinking meet on their turf. You know, hopefully we can come up with some times that are not too onerous for us or for them. And just go through, oh, where's your, salt, that's that big thing out there at the highway department. Chief Kraus, where's the tires? You budget for tire, that's that pile over there. So we can sort of see, he's got a line maybe for ammo for the guns, for the police for practice. Oh, that's that big lock cabinet here, right? To get us more familiar with, rather than coming down to doing the budgets and what's this line, that gets us more familiar with what these things are. And doing the same thing with the school. Don't think I'm leaving the school out because I'm talking about police and public works pay.
Sure, you can come look at anything you want.
And I talked to Pat Smith about it. I've talked to, and I've also talked to Nick. I believe Chief Kraus
was in favor
be the
of
same
it
way.
too. Yeah.
They've all been in favor of it so far. If the members are okay with it, I'll see if I can get some potential dates set up with the various department heads and meet with them. Probably it'll be it'd have to be middle to end of June. My April's coming to a close, and May for me is going to be extremely busy. So,
can I make a suggestion, Tom?
Yes.
Maybe this might be a case to try to get it started with a subcommittee. Possible. I mean, unless you want to wait. I mean, everybody wants to wait. It's a possibility to go and try and do that, so we don't have to wait too long to talk.
No,
to them.
to talk to the
Yeah.
to visit,
Yeah.
because I'd like to have everybody have an opportunity to go visit. I don't want to just be three people. I think
I agree.
everybody, I think, should have an opportunity. And if you can make it, you can. If you can't, okay. But this is just to go get ourselves familiar with the lines, and we'll do the same thing with the budgets that are here in town hall. Administrator, what are these lines for? Land use. What's this? What do your miscellaneous lines cover? Where's that at? Where's the touchy feely? That's the kind of. But I'd like for when we arrange it for everybody to be able to do it. So if somebody else wants to take on the job of talking to the department heads, Andy, do you think there'd be any issue with any of the other department heads with us talking to them like that?
Shouldn't be.
Okay. Like I said, I know I've talked to Pat Smith and Nick about it, and they were more than in favor.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I talked with Michelle before, and
Yeah.
she was in favor of it. So
Okay.
we'll see,
I'll send out some emails to department heads, try to make some phone calls. I'll try to set some dates up in June, if everybody's okay with the middle of the end of June. Okay, to start kicking this off. And of course, it'll have to be a noticed meeting. Minutes, nothing of substance was discussed is what it'll probably be, just like what they have to do with selectmen at the town cleanup, right? It's, just because we're going to be there and conducting sort of official business, if you will. Okay, I will kick that off. And are there any dates people know that they cannot meet in June?
Are we talking evening or after?
Anytime people would find preferable. Would you find it preferable then during the week? An hour or two on a weekend on a Saturday? And you want me to just get some dates and I'll throw them to the committee? I will have those dates for the next meeting. All right. And again, this is just to get us familiar with what the lines in the budget touchy-feely, right? Because I invariably always ask the same question. Well, what's that line for? What's that line? Why do we have to do these?
Is it worth having or set aside some time, maybe a quick workshop to kind of get our thoughts together before we head out of here to visit?
Yeah, we could do
There's
that.
there's a lot of items here.
Yeah, well, what I'll do is make sure actually, that should have all the line items that are in the budget,
Yeah,
the expenditure report.
right.
Now, when we do this, also talking to them in regards to potential savings like we had
Yep.
discussed in the past. I mean, where we might be able
We
to save
brought-
some money.
We brought up targets, right?
Right, target
Sort of
goals.
targets. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
Investigate that.
All right. Okay, so I'll take care of that. Like I said, next meeting I'll have some preliminary dates, hopefully. Town expenditure report. Actually, this is something I wanted to, right there, bring up with Andy. Is there any way, it seemed we had a difficult time this month getting the PDF copies of the expenditure reports? Or not PDF, getting the expenditure report and getting Excel or CSV copies of it, so that members that might want to plug it into Excel and start doing charting or anything like that. We had a hard time. I couldn't get a response from the bookkeeper. So when I asked for unfortunately, I just did not have a chance to come in to talk to anybody about it myself.
It will be much easier when we get the town administrator.
Yeah.
So what are you looking for?
Basically the town reports, the expenditure reports, and the town reports. Anything that's available in a CSV or an Excel format, we'd like to have it in that format. It makes it easier if people want to start looking at trends and trending throughout the year. We've had times before where it's easier. We've had people that have seen there's an anomaly here where this line disappeared from that month to this month, which really shouldn't happen. And with Excel, it's really easy to do that. Looking at a PDF from this month with one that was from last month, it's really hard to see a difference like that.
And when do you want this by?
When did we usually say we wanted that by, Bob? Was it the
week.
week before
before the
week
meeting.
before the meeting?
Yeah,
Yep.
usually the week before, but not in the middle of the month. Have the monthly report, but usually we get it 1 week before, so we have time to look at it
Yeah.
and to study it
So a week before the meeting?
Yeah.
a week before.
And she would email that to you?
Yeah, she could email that to me as chairman, and I'll make sure it gets disseminated to whoever it needs to go to.
So do you want that at a different time when you get the PDF, or, I mean?
Both of them should come at the
Yeah,
same
it
time.
should come
Yeah,
together,
yeah,
yeah. We just want,
Yeah.
so we just want the spreadsheet
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
to be able to
basically.
work with.
The
Yeah.
PDF is fine to look at, but you can't do anything
Right,
with it, so.
right.
Yeah,
But I still want it.
yeah,
No,
oh yeah,
that's what
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah. Not saying that we don't want it.
No,
We're just saying
We
that
just want
we'd
the
like to have
spreadsheet.
it.
Yep, we can have both.
Okay, I'll see what
All right.
make sure it happens.
Okay, Mr. Bob, you have another copy of the expenditure report on you?
I do right here.
I can't turn this. I don't know. I gotta. My computer is acting up a little bit on me.
I got another one behind me too,
Yeah,
so.
this one too, because I got mine
Well,
marked.
then,
My computer's giving me fits here. It's, I can't rotate the PDF. That's just.
at least you
Okay.
can get yours on, mine won't work.
Okay. And basically, this is.
Did you get it rotated?
I got it rotated.
Yeah.
It took a while to figure out how to get that
But I'm
done.
also not running Windows, so I have a little better tools.
Well, that's, I don't need to derail the meeting discussing my Windows and Google experience. It hasn't been good.
So, as the new guy,
Yep.
how do you customarily go through these things?
Ba-
I mean, are
bas-
you just flagging, the highs and the lows and that kind of thing?
Pretty much, this gives us an idea as to where the money in the town, the ebb and flow of money's in the town,
Yeah,
really.
no, I
We can't-
understand
Yeah,
that, but as far as reviewing.
It's,
is it-
if you see something that hey, why is this number high, why is this number low?
Yeah.
you know, why we only spent, you know, it's, you know, November and we've only spent 20% out of the fire department's fuel line. Why is that?
Yeah.
You know, those are the,
Or the reverse, like
yeah.
Like
page,
heat.
like
Page 2.
like page 2, legal notices, we're at 132% used, and we're only 2 months into the. How far are we? 3 months in?
25% of the way in, yeah.
Yeah.
We're only 25% in, but we're already 30% over budget
Right.
For the whole year.
for the whole year.
What I
And the
worry
one right
about
afterwards.
is the next
Mr.
one.
Chairman, we need a point of order
Oh,
here.
yeah.
We're gonna have to stop raising our hands. You know, I know I gotta do the same
Oh,
thing.
yeah,
So one person's talking, because it'd be
Yeah, it's
hard for
good.
Sherry to.
yeah, good point. Sherry's nodding her head in the affirmative.
When you cite something on any budget, please give the page
And
and the
line
line
number.
number.
Yep, that would be much helpful. Thank you.
Yes, Peg.
Okay, page 2, line number 0141403991. They've already used 130, almost 133% of the budget.
And that's town clerk tax collector, right? So,
Yeah.
any idea, Andy, what might have happened?
I'm just trying to think what kind of notices she'd be
Was
sending
it,
out. Well, some of this stuff I'm gonna have to get back to
Yeah,
you
yeah.
on.
Oh, that's
Just,
fine.
you know,
Maybe related to the auction?
no.
Okay.
It was for this month.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to,
Okay.
You know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we don't expect these to,
yeah. I mean,
yeah.
The same answer might be tied to the line item right underneath it.
Right.
Which would be,
0141403995, professional services, which is at almost 56.7%.
About 57.6, 57.7.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
twice as far as it
Yep.
should be at this point.
And it's much more money too. So
Yeah.
what worries me about that one is if it continues, where's the overage
no,
going to come
well,
from?
a lot of the professional services are contracted
Spikes.
things where you might get billed twice a year, so it might be the first bill, but Andy should be able to,
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like you said, you know, on the professional services, she might have gotten, you know, I can find out, but she might have got a huge delivery from, you know, whoever we get our stuff from. Like, and
yeah,
it might be like envelopes and,
yeah.
I mean, so forth, whatever she gotten.
Well,
But I'll find out.
the time to catch it is now, right?
We go
Especially
back
with
to
that
page
kind of
one
money.
for one too, Tom, because we went by page 1, I just wanted to hit a couple on that.
Oh, whoops, page 1.
Well, I know we're at the 25% mark, so I'm just looking, there's a couple line items in here. Contract services 014130-340. That's almost, I mean, it's over 36% now. And if contract services, it's generally it's pretty regular expense. So that one's being spent at a pretty high rate. The professional services, 2 lines down from that, the 395 is at almost 31%. And down towards the bottom, the equipment lease, which is 014130-742, also over 30%. These are usually pretty standard
Scheduled.
items, so if they're being spent above the 25% mark, it's like, what's going
Especially
on?
in the lease.
Yeah,
The lease
the
is
lease
typically on the
should be a
schedule,
regular
so-
monthly allotment. So, those are 3 that we might need some answers on.
Mr. Chairman, I gotta say
Yeah,
something here.
yes.
This is the month of March. They're within range of where they should be at this time. If you look at the overall budget, they're down to only 21%.
Total budget, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Because if you follow the number by let's say July, they should be around 60%, somewhere around there. But they're within this. The town administrator is within range. It does look a little high on certain areas, but
Yeah.
the overall,
It might be how it's billed
Yeah,
You know.
but again, for the, especially the new members that aren't, getting the answers, because I remember there are contracted services that get like lump sums, and you see, and we ran into that last year. It was, it was on like November, and it'd been like 30% spent out of an assessing line or something. It's because the bill hasn't come in yet. So there are some lines that are like that. But and I'm certain Andy can get us a little more detail on what these are. And I'm certain that it is something like that. There, I don't think you'll find that they typically go over in their lines. But again, that's why we're here to ask the questions to find out.
I can tell you that the way we used to put our budgets together, when you did your monthly reviews, you had another column that said, this is where we believe we're going to be at this point in time. And you can do that quarterly, or you can do it monthly, whatever. That would stop the questions, right?
Well,
if things are front-end loaded, it clearly shows it's front-end loaded, and you're expecting to be at 36%, because for the next 2 months, you're not going to spend anything.
Correct.
So, but there's no clarity for that here, so.
No, and a good
It's always
example
gonna
of
be
that in
questions.
here, Dennis, like you're saying, Dennis, is like heat and things like that. You
Yeah.
expect that to be up.
Yeah.
So, but there's some of these that leases just scare me.
Right.
Contracts, because
Moving forward, though,
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I'm new to the budget committee too.
Mhm.
So moving forward, I will review this, not that I don't anyways, but I will review this before our meeting. And if something catches my eye, or I think it might be a question that you folks might have,
Yeah.
I will get the answer before I come.
Yep.
So,
That's good. Yeah.
Question.
Yep.
Tied to that, it's like, might I suggest, that same question probably arises every single year at various times. The answer is always the same each year. Maybe we should start trying to keep a record of, like, okay, for example, the equipment lease line, wherever that one, that 4130742 is somewhere this is spiky and is front loaded. That way, instead of having to constantly ask the town administrator every year at this time, why is that one high?
That's a good.
Let's just start trying to keep record of the ones that are consistently going to be spiky like that, so we know.
I think that ought to be the responsibility of the department managers that are in control and responsible for the budget, not those of us who are just reviewing it.
I can agree with that too.
well, I understand what you're saying, but some of them responsibilities fall on myself, so, and I will take.
But you can't know every one of these departments,
No, I
right?
can't,
And
but
what's
my wife
going
reads a
on.
book at night, I read this. And she thinks I'm just,
Yeah,
but I do.
yeah.
So, we'll get it figured out next
Yep.
meeting.
All right, and anybody see? Yes, Peg.
I don't know if we're gonna go through the whole thing, but something that popped out at me, and I think, Humphrey, you mentioned heat. But if you look on page 5, GB
Heat, yeah.
Government bill.
4101, 495, 4194, 420. I agree, but something about, we certainly haven't spent a lot for heat, but
There's no money for
we
November.
don't have
December,
anything
yeah.
for
Next,
November and December of next
I
year.
really honestly think what happened here was, and I'm just assuming, but
Okay.
I think what they're doing is they're filling up, they're topping off everything for this coming fall,
And will that keep
and
it
probably at
though?
a lower price.
Okay, because I just had my tank at home filled up, but I think I'll have a few more before the end of December. And there were several in here under heat that.
Yeah, the fire
I went
department has
through.
had
Yeah.
them too.
I think that's what it is.
Okay.
I mean, if I had to make an educated guess,
Okay.
you know.
Mr. Chairman,
Yep.
this is what they do.
Yep.
Okay, we've
Yeah.
had that before. They said, it's almost spent. The idea is they buy it now.
Yeah.
And they're ready, and they're gonna, they come close, they may go over, but that's why they're as high as they are, because they buy it in the spring, and I don't know about the price. I don't know.
The price is not gonna go down between now and November. It's just gonna go up.
And buying.
Well, the town gets a
Yeah.
special rate
Yeah.
for buying, quantities. So I think that's why they
That's
do it.
what they do it for.
Just like Bob said. So I'll find out.
The only other one I had, and that's on page 5. When I see a 0 line item and then we spent money, and
Aye.
that's the only other
I-
one. Those are the types.
I was gonna ask about that one.
Yeah,
too.
under the admin cost, nothing was budgeted.
Mr. Chairman, that's gotta be an error,
Uh,
because,
wait a
What line
minute,
is
we're
it?
on page 5,
Under,
Fine.
just below where it says government
Zero
buildings.
one.
Yeah.
it's the cemetery line.
4195, 395.
Cemetery admin cost,
Yeah.
4195395.
Because the software does not belong there. It should have been, the 4,000 goes to the administrative cost. If you had the old,
But, yeah, if I might, remember we're under a default budget?
yes,
They changed that since we're under the default budget. I don't know that they had that line in the previous budget,
yes, they did.
did they?
Yes, they
Okay.
did. They're going
All right.
back. All the costs that went before
Okay.
that has been eliminated, and this is back to 10,000.
Okay.
That 4,000 doesn't belong there. And what is it? The 4,000
Okay,
belongs to the administrative cost. Did you get the number of that, Sherry?
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Okay.
where it really belongs. It's just an error.
Okay.
This-
Okay.
Andy, could you ask the,
So are you talking about the cemetery software?
Yeah,
393 versus 395.
Should have been down on the.
Net budget, the $4,000 that's in 393 probably should be in 395, not in 393.
Actually, the CM software shouldn't be in there at all.
That's
That should be zeroed out. That should be zeroed out. 393, right?
that's a software
Yeah,
purchase, right?
Because
Yeah.
we're on default, and that was not in there last year.
Right.
So we're all set with page 3 and 4.
And 6, page 6, Police Department Legal Service, 4210320. They're already at 92.857%.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I can answer that.
yes,
They always pay that up front. Now, the
Okay.
$1,000 on the side is for paperwork if they need it.
That makes sense.
It was one of the selectmen's meetings, he mentioned that.
Okay.
It was brought up then.
Yep.
Thanks,
Yeah.
thanks,
Okay.
Bob.
okay, anybody else have anything on page 6? Yes, Peg?
The line right below that, 4210340, contract services at 55%.
Again, Andy, can you ask the chief what?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm certain, again, that's like, it's,
Prepay a block
Yeah,
in
yeah.
advance.
yeah.
Okay.
All right, anybody else on page 6? Page 7.
Just the heat.
Just the heat, yep.
Well, heat and building maintenance. Back up there a bit.
Oh, yeah, I missed building maintenance.
Yeah, again, the
4220720.
20, right.
Building maintenance, yeah, I think it's, I'll look into it, but I think I know what it is.
Mhm.
And you said heat.
Yeah, the heat on that one, 420 up.
See, I'll make the comment again, we're not knowing how the budget's being
Yeah.
laid out for the year. And although the department managers had to understand what the expenses were and they have an idea of when they're coming in, we'll go through this every time we review a budget if we don't have some type of a schedule of expenses.
Yep.
So it might be worth looking into doing something like that.
yeah, we can,
I think we're adding more work. for the department heads.
Well,
We're getting
yeah,
in so
yeah,
much
but
deeper.
they've got that information in front of them when they're preparing their
They're only
budgets.
gonna have to do that
right?
once.
That's right.
Versus,
Every month
every time
we'll be
we
going
ask,
through this.
we have to go through the selectmen to ask the question. It's gonna take them less actual time doing it that way than
Well,
it is this other way that we're doing it now.
It's just more paperwork. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, anybody else on page 7?
And I think next month, it'll be much easier, right?
All right.
With me.
If I can just maybe interject here, and it might be
Yes, Peg? Yep.
important for you, Andy. What I do is I actually go through the school board expense report and revenue and grant report ahead of time, and then send all my questions to Nate, and then he answers in red, and then I forward it so that it comes to this board, so that you get the overages, and there's an explanation as to why that's happening, so
Yeah. No,
I
that's
just have found that
that's
it's
a
a
great-
lot easier to
That's a great
present
idea.
to this board so that everybody seems to know what's going on, or try to, anyway. We try to understand, I understand, but
Okay, page 8?
Yes, question on
Yep.
4240, 840, PBC mileage travel.
Now, I can tell you what that one stemmed from. We're in a default budget, which is based on last year's budget, when they thought that they were gonna have a town car to use. They don't. They reduced the mileage to account for that. And so that's why you see that overage there.
Yeah, we're just waiting on the plates for the town car.
But if you look at the bottom line for the planning and code, he's right where he should be at 24%.
Yep.
Did you have see a hand up somewhere? All right, page 9.
Nothing out of
Mine is
there.
pretty clean, actually.
Man,
I gotta say, the highway department, I'll make the comment, the highway department did a pretty good job. I mean,
Yep.
they're like right on.
Oh, operating supplies.
yeah.
yeah, that, if I recall correctly, that is where he also puts his sand, salt and sand.
Oh, probably.
And when I was talking to him about that, or about the meeting, meeting with him, he did mention that he's going through his sand. And he had to, just because of the freeze-thaw nature of the winter this year, he said it really decimated his stock of sand and salt. Because this budget also has to cover for next, November and December.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe into October, so.
Same thing with
So
the heat.
unless we have a very light winter coming up this next one, we're gonna be over, basically, is what you're saying.
So, but like I said, that, and then, again, we go down there, we're looking, asking about lines in the budget, we can touchy-feely stuff, right? Which I think that'll help a lot, too, in understanding all this. Any other questions on page 10?
Whatever my
Yes,
name
Peg.
is. 4324240, solid waste training. I don't know if that's just a one-time.
440?
240.
240.
I'm sorry, 240.
And it could be that it was, a one-time, everybody's now trained and that's the end of it.
I
Sure,
believe it
I'm
is,
sure
I don't
took
believe
some
that's a,
classes.
yeah, it's not an ongoing thing, they have to get trained for handling the materials they do down there.
Yeah.
All right, on to page 11.
The items look bad at the top, but they're very small numbers on the maintenance and miscellaneous. But
Oh, yeah, that percentage.
the percentage looks bad, but I don't think there's anything drastic.
Not a huge dollar
Yep.
amount, but
Yeah, but even though with that large percentage, they're still at 21%.
Yeah, no, they're in good shape.
So,
Can I ask a silly question? Again,
There-
being the new guy?
No such thing.
What's the, what's the leeway within the budget to be able to move money around?
The selectmen can basically move money around however they want.
The selectmen
It-
have to do
Yeah,
it.
oh, we have no control over how this is spent.
No, no, I
Yeah,
don't mean us.
yeah,
I
the-
I
but-
meant
yeah,
within
yeah,
the
yeah, the-
department, are there
Yes,
rules
yes,
about what
the-
they can move around? Or is the bottom line the bottom line
Bottom
and
line.
that's it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
do they
Yeah,
have to
it's-
present
No.
changes to the selectmen if they move money between line items or?
I don't.
I'm just trying to understand
Go ahead, Bob.
Mr.
how it
Chairman,
works.
what it is, if they overspent this line,
Yep.
they'll pick another line to cover the overage.
Yeah.
All they have to do is stay within their total
Yeah,
budget. But
but-
they'll do, it's like Pat Smith, he's gonna say, I'm over on this line. Well, I'll take a little out of this and put it here.
Yeah.
He won't put it there, but it'll
Yeah.
be understood that he puts a mark, and said, I took money out of here,
Yeah.
so I don't have that same amount again. They can move money within their own budget, just so long as they stay within their
That's
budget.
what I,
but-
that's
but
what I
I-
was
yeah.
asking, but there have been instances where there are restrictions for where you can take some money out and move it to another, even
Yeah.
within the same budget.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's
I
why I
believe-
was asking the question.
Yeah, I believe if, for example, solid waste was had to overspend their bottom line, they
Right.
would have to come to the selectmen and ask for that adjustment.
Yeah.
I don't think they could say, and then the selectmen have the authority to move money from, say, police to over there. If we're down 3 police officers
Gotcha.
or whatever.
I was just,
Yes, Bob.
Mr. Chairman, this is actually an overall budget. The bottom line is what they look
Yeah.
at. If they lose it there, one of these that has money in it will cover the overage.
but that has to be
If they-
approved by the selectmen, right?
No, it does not.
No.
It is
So
a
you can
bottom-
do interdepartment?
No,
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 between
within
departments, the
departments.
selectmen have to approve it.
Okay, that's
Within the department, they don't.
That's what I,
That's
okay.
not what I understood it. They can go inside anywhere in their budget, so long as they stay.
Yes.
Yeah,
within their
but
budget.
what I'm
Their
saying, what we
budget.
mean is that, like, if solid waste was to go, have something happen, they needed to spend $200,000.
Oh, well, now you're
Okay.
talking something
Yeah,
way
something
out.
big.
Okay.
So then, they would have to come to the selectmen and say, hey, we had to replace 3 of our compactors.
Okay.
We're
if you
gonna be
would've-
over.
Okay, if you would have said that.
That's
I
what,
would've
that's what,
told you.
yeah, that's
That
what we
was
mean.
not,
Yeah, that's what we mean. That has to come to the selectmen. They can't,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
a
the
major
type of-
item, so.
Yeah,
And
that's
I-
the type of thing we're talking
And
about.
I could be mistaken, but they also can't move money in or out of salary lines without authorization from the selectmen as well. They can't suddenly give themselves raises by spending less money on sand.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, Peg.
Yeah. The one thing which may help Dennis is, I mean, I know with the school budget, if we overspend on line XYZ, we spend over that line so that we know next year when we're doing our budget that we overspent that line, but we underspent on LMNOP.
Right.
So,
Okay.
Yeah.
so we want to make sure
My
that we
concern-
have our
My question was, within a department,
department.
can they move money around without restriction? That's all. 'Cause
Yeah.
But there may be some, as Dave said, I think you
Yes,
said it,
yeah.
is salaries. Might be one area where you can't move money in and out.
Yeah.
Without, so that's really all I was
Yeah, yeah,
asking.
yeah. The most of the lines, they can transfer money within an individual bit, but to go from department to department would take the selectmen.
So, okay.
Okay. All right, anybody else on page 11? See, it wasn't a silly question because we had some significant discussion about it. Page 12.
But,
Yes, Peg?
Did you find a period missing again?
misspelling.
Yeah.
Line 4520-395, recreation, professional services is 90%. I mean, I don't know if that's going to go over. You know, they're fine bottom line, but just to be a little aware. And I don't know what their professional services encompasses.
Yeah, that doesn't seem to be something that
You know-
would be front-end loaded.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, what we should do is bring our backup material that we got from the budgets. All that information is in there. It would tell you what it covers. I think maybe the committee audience, those who don't have it, I still have mine. It would help you to show what is in it. It won't tell you how much is going to be spent out of it, but
But that-
You can
that's a-
see
That's a good idea, if we, because that material does say what is in, when they present the budget, okay, this is what this is for, and they'll list out 3 or 4 things that may be covered in that line. Yes, Dave.
But an example of one that that's more relevant is like on page 12, recreation 4520-120, salary part-time, they're at 48%. That's recreation part-time. The summer, where they need their part-time people, hasn't even hit yet, but they're 50% of the way through their budget.
Well, that's her part-time, her part-time assistant. So
Right.
she's paid through 2 different lines. She's paid from the town beach through the summer program, and she's paid 2 different ways, and that's probably why that looks like that. This is
Okay.
her
Yep.
being paid through the town, and you won't see that line move much in another
2 months.
2 months, because she's being paid from a different entity. So I know that. So.
Yep. Yeah, 'cause I believe we had discussions about that during the budget.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
now remember that one.
Yeah.
So I want, if I could, Tony,
Yeah, yes.
because I'm in the same boat as Dennis, okay? And that's why, I mean, I'm letting people say things. I've got a whole bunch of things marked here, and I'm of the same reason, and I'm not gonna go back over all of them. I mean, we're trying to get through, and I know Andy's gonna bring us answers on the next one, but having that information that you guys talked about that explains some of the stuff that's in here, you know, I don't have that, but there are easier ways for them to just say it's front-loaded or whatever it is with the department heads. That'll help you, it'll help us.
If each department head just took a calendar
Yeah.
and said, okay, my budget's, $100,000. Show me across the 12 months how that money is gonna be spent. That's all. I mean, they should know if they can answer the question that, oh, well, that's front-end loaded. Well, then you should be able to tell me when it's due and just put it in split that budget up into 12 segments. And so we know, we can look at it and say, well, at this point, they should be at 33% of their budget
Because
spent.
that's what they-
Even if it's only, a month in. It would make this process so much easier. And it shouldn't be that much of a job for the department heads,
So
but
we'll
Just,
talk to them, see if there's something we can do.
who's responsible for the format of
This comes from the town bookkeeper. To change this, we're not gonna get this format changed, I can tell you that.
Really?
Yeah, because this comes.
That sounds like a challenge.
This
It's
comes-
output from software.
Yeah, this comes from our bookkeeping software,
It's not
and
configurable.
it's configurable, but to add in the things that you're doing is probably a more major change than we want to try to tackle right now, one of the other things we're trying to accomplish. I'm not saying that it can't be done, but it's something that's a major
Next
undertaking.
month, trust me.
Yeah.
We'll be sailing through this.
But-
I'll be doing my homework. You guys caught me.
I gotta write this down. I gotta put a signature on it.
Yeah, okay, anything else on page 12? Back on track here. Page 13, anybody see anything?
Yeah, membership dues, line item 014550-850. They've overexpended on the membership dues. I don't know why it wouldn't just be a higher amount. That's, budget should have been higher.
It's
this
default
default?
budget.
It defaulted budget, and I
Is that
think
what
that,
that-
and I
okay.
think the membership due, the cost of them was going up, and
Okay.
that wasn't in their control, so their cost went up, but they didn't get the extra money they needed to cover the cost.
And
But, well, they actually move money from, if you look, they move money from the line item directly above it.
No, I don't,
Two.
I think
I
that's
think that's an error.
Yeah.
Andy,
Well, it's-
line item 014550-840
Yeah.
and 014550-850. If you could have them answer if you look at year-to-date expended, one's minus 604,
The other one is.
one's positive 604.
Right.
Looks like something funny happened there.
Okay,
Yep,
I'm on it.
that's all it was.
Yeah, there's a heck of an error in there, just remaining
Yeah.
$39, there's something wrong with that.
Yeah, something looks funny.
Yeah, everything's.
Something looks funny. Yeah, money got added to mileage and travel, and something funny happened.
Yep.
Okay, and on page, nobody else has anything on page 13? Page 14. Actually, I have one here. Page 14, line number 01-4721-899. What was our unanticipated expense? Do you have any idea, Andy?
For the 18,000?
Yeah, well, $1,733.84.
Yeah.
Is that miscellaneous kind of thing?
Now,
This is under debt service.
yeah, it's under,
Yeah.
but that's our unanticipated expenses line. I would expect that to be used for, if the Miller went on, our furnace went out. We have to replace the furnace because we can't fix it.
But everybody else calls that miscellaneous. Why is that?
Because it's intended for things, that's for the town, that's all town departments. The heater went out in the fire station. They have to replace the heater. You know, he doesn't have money in his budget to replace the heater. He can't cover that. That's why,
Oh, I get
that's
that.
what that's for.
Yeah.
It's the
Okay, I get
bigger expenses that crop up. I'm just curious.
I'm just curious as to why it's not just called miscellaneous. I'm sure that's what the ones that are miscellaneous, like, same definition, right? But anyway, that's
yes,
beside the
Bob.
point.
The miscellaneous lines are there because if there's something that is spent or a service has been done and it doesn't fit the criteria of any of the lines, that's where it has to go. It needs to go someplace. So if it doesn't fit the criteria,
Yep.
it's just, that's where it goes, and sometimes that's why I question what is in that line.
Yeah, and I think that's what Dennis is simply questioning, why would that be called unanticipated expenses instead of
Yeah.
town miscellaneous or something? I think that's his only question, is on the name of it.
That's
Well,
it.
I think it's kind of self-explanatory, really.
Yeah,
You know, it's,
yeah, but
It's just that you got two different names with the same
Yeah.
definition, that's all.
Yeah.
let me see why they spent $1,700.
Yeah,
It
that's
could have
the-
been before my,
and it could have been. It may be related to the properties in town. I don't know. Okay. And I think we're on to the feedback
I'm
on.
off the hot seat.
All warmed up now, though.
Okay, on to the school expenditure report.
Okay, I'm going to.
Yeah, this one's right.
Take one and pass them down.
Oh, it's because you scanned the other one in. It's the way you scanned
Yes.
it. That's what it is.
What?
I just figured out why the town report was sideways on my computer.
What? You did-
Because Bob scanned it in.
Because I had to scan it in. I did
Oh,
not have the
okay.
software. Mr. Owens was
Yeah.
gracious enough to give me a copy, but I had to scan it in.
Yeah, that's why. It's
Okay, well, I will
anyway.
talk about what I just handed out to you.
Okay.
However, if you look at, it's gonna go through the expense report, and unfortunately, my answers did not get printed out for everybody this time, but I will review them with you. For Humphrey and Dennis, unfortunately, you do not have, all of my running red answers, but I can go through some of the stuff. One of the things that we do that the town does not do is encumber what we know we're gonna be spending, so that by the time you get to the percent remaining,
No, I do understand
Yeah.
that.
you do, I don't know,
We
Dennis,
I figured that out.
you
Yeah.
figured that one out,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
good. Well, I
Yeah,
just
so
wanted to make
doing
sure
it
that
after
you
the
I
guys-
have
first-
some questions on that
Yeah.
too, by the way.
Yeah, I got a couple too, but I understand you did it after,
Yes.
for the first of the year to roll over to.
Right.
Right.
be
So you
done.
have to make up for you have to encumber it in order to make it all come out right, so.
Right,
I got that.
I mean, what we know,
Yep.
we do encumber, so.
Right.
All right, so this month, I will go through just what popped out at me this month, because I had all the rest of everything. On page 5, line 100, 1200, 54420-1, Little Rams copier rental. That is the preschool, the special ed preschool. And the original amount was put into another line, but what Nate did was go through every single line and say, okay, I needed to move it. So it was 422, one back in October, 2410 rather than 1200. So it was under regular ed rather than the special ed, and Little Rams is special ed preschool.
What was the line item again, Peg?
I'm sorry, what? The
What was
line
the
item?
line item again?
135.
135, okay, got it.
130. Oh.
Yeah, they
I
have a
didn't
line
realize
item
there's a
number
line
on
number
there.
right there.
Yeah.
Oh my
Trying to-
God.
Trying to help you, Peg.
Gee, that-
Thanks.
It's a whole lot shorter of a
What,
number.
135 what?
Yeah. You see that
I don't
number,
see a
Bob?
135 on
Talking about
there.
135. On the
Um,
left-hand
Oh,
side.
okay.
That's what they were looking at.
Yeah, way over the other side. Okay, the next huge ones, and that has a lot to do with what I just handed out to you. Special ed. Oh, let's see, line number 140 and 141. Do you want the actual line numbers? Or okay, good. Elementary special ed tuition. We had a student come in. We don't normally send out elementary students, but we had to send a student to St. Charles. St. Charles charges $40,000 a year. So we are what, 3,168,563% over.
Yeah.
Just a small amount. I know Andy's looking at me like, what? And
Before you go past that line,
Yes.
can I ask a question?
yes,
How do we encumber money that was never even allotted? See, it's a $1 item, but we've
Oh,
encumbered
okay.
$23,000.
because we know that that's what is going to cost us between now and the end of the year. We've already gotten the bills and we know what St. Charles is
Okay,
charging us.
Just-
Does that make sense?
It does, except it's not really an encumbrance, that's all. But I understand what you're saying now, so that's
Okay.
fine.
We know we have to pay it.
Yep, okay.
So rather than having a different amount every month.
Nope, that's fine.
And then middle school tuition, non-public. We have 2 students, again, not planning on any. And that comes with the special ed report that I just handed out that Melissa Jean did. Maplestone, if you look, we have 3 students there. It is $40,000 per student. Seacoast Learning Collaborative, it's $40,000 to $60,000 a child. We have 3 kids there. One is transitioning back soon to be part of a shortened day, but at least back in the district. And then 1 student at John Powers for $40K, and then the 1 elementary at St. Charles. So if you look at all of our special education students, we have a lot who are identified. So, yes.
Okay, which brings up this might be a segue, but it is related to conversations I've had. How many students are we now shipping out since the SAU took over the building that we had a lot of sped students in?
All right, we did not have a lot of these students.
Or how many were
Okay.
how many were in there?
Those students, I'm just going to
Yeah.
make a clarification. Those students were not any of these students at all. These
Okay.
are students that we cannot handle their IEPs. So they have to be shipped out to where they can be taken care of. So the building where the SAU is now, it was more, we had special ed meetings there, so, you know, the special ed teacher and the parents would meet there rather than at one of the schools. There would be maybe some tutoring or something there, but it was not related to any of these students at all.
Okay,
Okay,
so
does that answer?
yeah, so none of the sped students we have had have we been able to do internally? We ship
Right.
every single one of our sped students out.
No, we don't ship every single one of our sped students out. These students have certain things in their
Okay.
IEPs that we cannot handle within the district. They may be severe disabilities, they may be severe emotional problems that we just can't handle in a normal setting.
Okay.
But if you look at the total, there are 110 students, and we send out 6, 7, 8, 9. So we are capable of handling 90% of the kids.
Okay, I see. All right, that's the number I was missing.
I mean, I just know that when I was in teaching in Rochester, that one year we had 14 students transfer in, all of whom had to be shipped out because their IEPs, the district could not handle them.
So let me ask a question on that. The location where they're getting it, I take, somebody's getting funding, some funding. Is it that location like St. Charles getting additional funding for them? Or is it something that should come back as a grant to us to help pay? That's a question to ask.
No, they are, we actually pay the tuition,
Right.
okay? And that's where they get their funding. St. Charles used to be, I don't know if anybody knows the history of St. Charles, but it used to be an orphanage, and they lost that, and then it was kind of a day-to-day sending out-of-control students, but they had no academic program at all. And I want to say maybe a year ago in December, they put together a program and applied to the state, and so now our one elementary student who is there is actually getting an education that is approved by the state, in addition to everything else this little kid needed, so.
So, Peg, how does the
If
number
we
of the
could-
students?
Well, if we could have just a chair, so that we can make the names and everybody who's
Okay.
talking clear for Sherry.
Okay, Mr.
Go
Chairman?
go ahead,
Jump
Dennis.
in?
Yep.
Thanks. How does this compare to what went on last year as far as the number of students in and out? And is it relatively the same, or
It's
is it?
pretty much the same, yeah. The elementary student was new this year, and the middle school. Because usually we're able to handle those students. The elementary school has, I'm trying to think what we call it, partners program, but we have specially trained paras who work with autistic students. So we've been able to keep those students in district.
Right.
When they go to the middle school, that program really is not continued. If they can handle regular classrooms, then they are kept in the school. But if they
Okay.
can't, then
Okay.
we have to send them elsewhere.
Thanks, Peg.
You're welcome. So let's see, do I have anything else? Okay, and then on page 7, and again, this, for the newbies, unfortunately, this was the first one of these that you guys have. Down at the bottom, Student Support Center, FICA.
What's the line item?
195?
Very last one.
Oh, I'm sorry, the
190.
195, very last line. It has normally come out of the middle school co-curricula, but in order to be, quote, these are Nate's words, more transparent, the line was created but never used until now. And the reason it's showing is because that's really where that should be going. So if that helps you, Dennis, in one of your questions about moving things from line to line, if something was supposed to be in a line,
But it was somewhere
but it
else?
was actually somewhere else. So it was, what line did he say it was in? 522. 2200. So it would be way at the back. 222.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
is it customary for, if we find issues like that, or the department finds issue, can they move and move money into a different line item, just so that,
Yes.
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. If it was inappropriately posted to one line,
Okay.
then yeah.
So this, we should see this next month, corrected, no?
Yep, and if, I'm trying to find where 5220 is.
Just don't wanna have to revisit it.
Yeah, yeah. And
Okay, yeah, 5220 is regular ed. And it was posted on. Now Dennis, do you know, have you figured out the 1, 2, and the 3? The -1, -2, -3 at the end of all the line numbers? 1 is elementary, 2 is middle, and 3 is high.
Okay,
Yeah.
yep. So we got 1, 2, 2 in that area.
5220-2. Okay, if you go to page 1, it's a cute little line next, the outside, 23, middle teachers FICA. That is where that came from. That was where it was originally posted, and so
Okay.
it was taken from there. And that was basically all I had. Our special ed budget is on page, bottom line is on page 5,
6.
and we are over by 87,000.
Page 6.
Pardon? On page 6, I'm sorry. Bottom of special education. Which is not really unusual. So, unfortunately, we will be probably hitting the, I always call it the wrong thing, what's it called? Fund balance?
no, isn't there a,
Pardon?
it's not a trust fund, I thought that there were, like a capital reserve for.
Yeah, whatever
I don't
it's
remember
called.
what it's called. Yeah, I don't remember the name of it.
Okay,
Reserve.
but
Yeah.
I always call it the wrong thing, and Nate always
Yeah.
corrects me, so.
For now.
Well,
Anyway,
it's- yeah,
Our
it's just-
reserve, whatever we have money in
Yeah.
from,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yes.
so I have a feeling we're gonna be hitting that this year.
I didn't know if you had more to go over, Peg. I just had a quick question, and
Yep,
you
no, that's
may be able
fine.
to answer it the way you've already answered them, because my big concern coming through on this was the zero line items, and there's a lot of $0 items, like for retirements and things like that, that we've got expenditures today.
Okay, so.
Going right back
give
to
me
page 1 for a moment,
Yep.
and you may be able to answer all of them with a couple simple questions. Line items 26 and 27. Those, it deals
Okay,
with the middle and the high
uh,
school retirement, we have 0, and yet then we've got the expenditures.
Did we have that? Where did we have that? Okay, it says the same holds true for the retirement line, so it would be those two. But let me verify that with Nate.
Yep. And if you would, because I don't want to beat a dead horse, because you'll find the same type of thing on line item 233 for the high school guidance counselor.
Oh, that one, if you remember, is,
I think that's one they moved money from, what looks like they
Yep.
took money out, but anyways, it's on the $0
Yep.
ones that I have. I don't want to, I mean, it's the same question on all. If he's got answers on the $0 line items, whether that's because they're new, wasn't adjusted, whatever it may be. So because there's a number of them, and they seem to fall around the retirement and some other.
okay, if you look, the current period, I'm just looking at 233 right now.
Yep.
If you look at the current period, there was 31,000 credit.
Right.
And if you go up to, and I think this was one of the ones that he said was labeled incorrectly.
Okay.
So the high school guidance salary and the high school guidance counselor is the same person, same entity. So that should have been posted to 2120-51220, if that makes any sense to you. If you look at it, high guidance,
No, I understand, and that, well,
Okay.
that's kind of where I'm saying some of this, but it was, if there's the additional ones down below where you've got line items 252, 254, and 258. Those are all retirement line items that have $0 in them for retirement, but they've spent money on on every one of these for the month and for the year. 252, middle
Yep.
school guidance secretary retirement. 254 is the high
Right.
school guidance secretary retirement, and then 258 just says retirement. All of them have expenditures, but they have no budget.
Okay. All right, I will find out, because if you look at the 254, again, it's a credit this period, which means that it was posted incorrectly, so.
Yeah, there's
I
a
will.
couple of them there, and I'm just
Yeah,
trying to
yeah.
find out where should they be.
Okay,
You know, because some of them on these zero line items, there's money spent, some of them there's money taken and credited, so it was just,
well, what happened, Nate went back through, line by line, and it took him quite a while, just to make sure that everything was actually posted to the correct line.
Yep.
Because I would be questioning, going, okay, on, page blah, 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 why are we over?
yep.
And he would go, oh, we shouldn't be. And so he would then correct the posting to where it's supposed to be, so. But there's, the naming of the high school guidance counselor, I mean, that's just bizarre.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
it's the same person. Anything else?
Anybody have anything else on the school expenditure report?
Got on page 10, Peg, again, Bill, line 279.
You know what I'm looking for is to see if I have all of my, no, I know,
Yeah, it's okay.
no, I'm looking for all of my red, because I do keep them. Okay, I keep them. All right. Which one?
Eliminating or
I think I just answered my own question. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay.
Anybody else have anything on the school expenditure report?
I did have, I gotta find the page though. I did have one thing I didn't quite understand, because the encumbrance number didn't make sense to me. And I'm not gonna be able to find it real quick. So maybe I'll catch up with it another time, but it almost looked like, when I did the calculations, using the 2080 hours a year and came up with a monthly number what the encumbrance should be, because we've got 3 more months. That's what the encumbrances were. Some of them seem to be accurate with the 3 months, right? Because we've got April, May, and June, right? For the 3 months we've got left in the budget, right?
Right, right.
So when they calculate the encumbrances, you've got 3 months left,
Right.
and it was basically around salaries. Under there was one, I know I recorded it somewhere, but oh, okay.
All right, find a page.
Under line item 61,
What page? Oh, you're just doing the numbers on the edge.
3,
Okay,
page 3,
okay.
61.
Yeah,
If you do the numbers out, that encumbrance number is actually 4 months worth of that salary.
right,
Unless
which
I
one?
messed it up completely.
60,
61.
61.
elementary
directors.
special director salaries.
Yep,
And it looks like that number is 4 months worth of encumbrance rather than just 3. Does that make sense?
okay. I will have to look at that. Again, this is, if you look at 61, 62, and 63, that's all the same person.
Okay.
But her salary is split. The one is elementary, 2 middle, and 3 high.
Okay.
So I'm just looking at the amount remaining, and we've got 61.303.02. We've got
Zero.
a negative .06 remaining, and the high .03. So you add the two 03s, and you end up with a
Remaining
zero. That makes sense? It's all the same person? No? Dennis is still shaking his
No,
head.
I'm understanding it's the same person. I'm just trying to figure out I didn't go through the calculations on the other 2 line items.
Okay.
But basically what I'm saying is that the 87
Yeah.
under the encumbrance is actually 4 times the monthly for that particular budget, not rather than 3. That's all I'm saying. So I was suspect from that point on with respect to salaries. So
Okay.
I apologize, I didn't go through all of the salaries to check them, but I did verify it against the, what's he called, the chairman of the board, or?
All right, I just did the 28,560 divided by 12. Yeah, by 12. Because I actually get 12. Oh, but you know what? It's 26 pays.
It's 20.
Never mind. I'll go back.
Short question.
Yes.
The sped director, those 3 line items is one person. That person is basically done getting paid for the year,
No.
or it's encumbered
It's encumbered for
fully
the rest of the
year.
year, so she still is
100%.
getting.
She's 100% encumbered, and there's
Right.
0 amount remaining, and that is what this says.
Right.
Based on those
But
3
he's
combined.
looking at,
If you take the current, I think what Dennis is showing you, take the current period, which is 2196.
right.
If you multiply that out, divide that from the 87, that's 4 months worth of time is what he's saying, as opposed to 3.
And I'm just
Roughly.
wondering because they do 26 pays rather than 12 months. So it might be
It's
that.
not 3 months, it may be a little bit
Yeah,
more than that.
it might be 3.5 months or,
Yeah, could be.
so yeah, I will check on that, Dennis, but I forgot that they get paid, not monthly, but,
I was just trying to verify my thought process, and I used the superintendent's salary. Figured that was a good number. And if you'll notice that the current period and the encumbrance, it's the 3 months, so that calculates out correctly, but
okay.
when I looked at that one, it did not, so. And again, I apologize, I didn't go through all of them to find
Yeah,
out
but
if they're all in the
yeah,
same
well,
condition, but
I will
it might
try.
be worth looking at to
Yeah.
make sure we get the right math going there.
Okay, anything else? So Peg's gonna look into the encumbrances for the salary line that looked a little
Right.
funky. And anything else? Anybody have anything else on school expenditures? All right, if not, we've got a couple other school reports we can look at. Just never wake up.
Okay, you know what, Dennis, I just did the divided by 26 pays. And then just did times 7, figuring, June, May, April, and figuring maybe there's another pay period in there. So if I add another, I think it was 1,200. Yep. So that's what it is. It works out because of the 26 pays that it's every 2 weeks. So some months,
So the superintendent gets paid on a different schedule?
yeah, monthly.
Ah. So that's
not
the
a teacher.
5-week issue.
Right.
Some months are 5 weeks.
Right.
Ah, okay.
So does that help? Does
I'd
that
have to
answer your
go.
question?
Yeah. Did you
I
come
bet
up
if
with
you
the
go
right
back,
number?
I bet, yeah. But I bet if you go through every single one of the teacher lines, you'll
okay.
probably find the same
So they
thing.
get paid twice a month. And that's
All right,
the issue.
every 2
Every 2
weeks.
weeks.
Right, but, yeah,
So it's not really twice a month like the
It's
15th
like
and
2
30th.
on the
It's,
3rd type of thing.
I got you. I got you.
okay?
So you're actually tacking on the extra week in there. Is that what you're saying?
Well, whatever gets them through June 30th.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And that's contractual,
Yeah.
so
Okay. Thank you, Peg.
you're welcome.
Okay. Anything else with school expenditure report?
I mean, I generally can
And we got a whole
work
bunch of other
something
school
out.
documents we can look at here. We got the grants,
The
March
what?
grant.
Monthly grant report.
There was nothing really in that one.
Nothing exciting there.
All right, I don't want that one. And the revenue, we're still waiting for some money. We love revenue.
Who doesn't?
Me too.
Yeah. The grants, I mean, a couple of them are, they've ended, but we have to keep them on the books until
Yep.
the end of the fiscal year. So, but no, the grant report looked fine. We did, I mean, I just want people to know that we really do look for grants. And we just got a grant, I think the maximum was like $300, and we got $316 because we're just so poor, for a composting something or other for the greenhouse. And they're actually starting to grow vegetables and flowers up there. Found a Dollar General grant, literacy. And I went on, and we're gonna be okay here. And we qualified. We're within 20 miles of a Dollar General, and the one that we ended up applying for, I mean, I sent everything off once I figured out that we were okay to the principals and the assistant principals and whomever. Jan Radowitz, the high school principal, has already applied, but because we did not get the warrant article for technology, she's going to write it for that, and I just said, just make sure that you put in that we're very poor. And our kids are very poor readers, and we really need it. So, I mean, that was a $4,000 grant. So, I mean, every little tiny bit helps, so. Anyway,
Okay, anybody
Anything
have
else?
any questions on the grants? I guess off to revenue. We like to see revenue.
yeah, revenue was there, the one pager,
Yeah.
and we still have 26% coming in.
It's 2 pages.
Well,
Yes, I
I know,
got
but
two.
it's just got
Oh,
one
one
sheet.
sheet of
One
paper.
sheet.
Okay.
Let's say, I got 2 pages here.
I was, but it's like, where's my?
Yeah, one of the things, I don't think I mentioned it last time too, is that we got a credit for unemployment and disability. So
Yep.
we're not paying anymore. We're done for the year.
Oh, yep. Yeah, go ahead. Okay.
And Peg, this is just a general comment, and it's only from having done budgets. If you can ask a magic question afterwards, I don't understand, and this is just because why we show revenue, which comes in as negative, and we show expenditures as positive numbers in this thing, really throws me. Every time I look at this, I go, we've got negative money, but
Oh, we have positive expenses.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I just don't understand why they, why they use it that way, because it throws me. I keep seeing the parentheses and thinking it's bad, and it's not. It's good.
Not on the revenue, it's not
Yeah.
bad, that's
No.
good.
Yeah,
When
well,
it
that's kinda
doesn't
where-
have the parentheses, that's not good.
Yeah,
I don't know about you, but I'm not used to seeing revenue, period.
yeah, no, I understand that. I understand that too. All right.
All right, and I think that wraps up the school reports. On to approval of minutes from February 19th.
I will make a motion as long as people have the corrections in front of them. And mine and Bob's, right?
Yeah, there's only two of us that did
Yep.
anything to it.
I will make a motion to accept the February 19th Water District minutes with the minor corrections.
Okay, I'm gonna have to second that. There's only three of us that can vote on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have two members that are,
Yeah.
they were not here.
Oh,
Yeah, it's,
There's only three of
I have
us.
to abstain because I wasn't here.
okay.
I
Thomas
wasn't here.
wasn't
Thomas
here.
wasn't here,
We
Aaron
were-
wasn't here.
We were
And then there were
otherwise
also
employed.
two people down, and
And two
Larry
members,
Brown,
yeah,
Mark.
they're not here.
there's literally only three people that were actually at the meeting that are here.
Okay, so Bob, Tammy, and I.
That's it.
All right, so, all in favor of the motion to approve the February minutes?
Aye.
All those opposed? All those abstaining?
Yeah, abstaining.
A lot of
Well,
abstentions.
then they even abstain if they
Sherry,
weren't even
did you
around.
Sherry, did you get those that approved it?
Yeah, Peg,
Okay.
Bob, and Tammy,
And-
and then David. And did you abstain? did
I
not.
abstained, yes.
Okay, David.
Basically, the rest of us abstained.
Okay.
All right, and I did not, did anybody else get a copy of the March? I didn't get the
Nope.
I
last,
emailed you.
you did?
I did not, I have not forwarded the final copy
Okay.
of the minutes.
Okay, all
And
right.
I had explained to you in the email that you, Bob is aware of this thing.
Yep. Okay,
And we've had that discussion.
okay.
Okay, so what we
Yep.
gotta do is, if, once they come in, we need, you didn't send your voucher in, so you have,
No.
Yep.
when he receives it, he'll sign it.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay, so
Okay.
when you sent the minutes to,
No,
No.
I explained to Tom and to the chairman, Mr. Dougal, and Mr. Carrier,
okay,
what the status of the meeting minutes are right now.
okay. So you will send them out?
I will send them out.
Okay,
okay.
all right.
And you will get your little red marks back.
Thank you.
Just one question, Sherry, do you have everybody's, you're gonna send them all to the committee members?
Yes, and I believe you provided me with emails for everybody.
Would you check to make sure Mr. Rawson's on it and Aaron comes off?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, if you have trouble with it, the chairman or myself can send it.
Okay.
All right, why am I dying?
In fact, if it would be easier, Sherry, you could send them to me and I could
Yep.
post them up on the Google Drive and let everybody know when they're there, if that would be easier.
Oh, can you send them to me in a Word document, please? Sorry.
Actually, we need to look at them, and maybe we have to edit them.
I'm old.
Well, you can do that off the Google Drive.
Okay.
But anyway,
If you
well,
give me if you provide me the
link to it?
link to it,
Okay.
then I can just upload it to the Google
Okay,
Docs.
all right.
But I will send it to you separately.
Okay.
I have trouble with her, too.
Everybody has trouble with
Okay.
it. It's okay.
Okay, so we'll table the March minutes, and I apologize, I didn't see your email before. I just saw, oh, yep, she did email.
Are we gonna make a motion to table those, or are we just
I
gonna?
was gonna ask
We
for a
haven't
motion
seen
to
them.
table the minutes. That's the
We
wrong
haven't seen the
email.
stuff on the table.
Would you make the motion?
But can we table them if we don't have them?
It's on the agenda, I think you have.
It's on the agenda right
Oh,
now. we have
okay. I'll make a motion that we table those minutes.
to. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, and Let's see, any other, and does anybody have, computer screen's acting up here. Anybody else have any other business may come before the board? Anybody have anything they want to? Yes.
In the interest of trying to make it easier for the next time, especially dealing with the school budget, because I highlighted the stuff that I have questions, and I know, Peg, you'll be the one that'll provide us answers. It might be just easier if we do that, and I send you the information I'm asking. I don't know. I know going through every one of them in here gets long for everybody. But right now, I mean, I'm going to have fewer questions as we go along, but
Okay, so what you're saying is
like I've
you
got
will-
all the comments like I mentioned to you earlier about the 0 items, but I mean, I had others that I highlighted on
You know what,
this
if
thing.
you just sent me a quick email
Yep.
with the line item,
Well, that's kind of where I was going. I said,
Okay,
it might
all
make
right,
it
I wasn't
easier.
getting that.
No, it might make it easier, and I'm going to hand you this one
oh,
tonight
all right,
so that you've already got my comments.
okay.
So it might make it easier for the next meeting, that's all. We get the documents from Nathan early enough
Yeah,
to ask
the only
questions.
thing I'm concerned about is we have to be careful of conducting business outside of the meeting. That's getting dangerously close to.
Well, that's kind of why
even
I'm
if it's-
asking the
Yeah,
question.
yeah, and that's what I'm saying is I'm not, that's my only concern. Believe me, it bothers me to no end that we can't just email each other about stuff.
Oh,
It's
I
so much
agree.
easier.
I agree.
But to follow the RSA, we can't do that.
What can we do?
Can he email it just to her? He can't
That's all I'm
mail
saying.
it to
I'm not saying
everybody.
it to the
that-
whole.
But that's
You can do it.
almost. I got to do some research on it to
Okay,
find out if
Mr.
we
Chairman,
can.
what
Yeah,
used to be
He
done,
can mail it, he can
I
email
didn't think that.
Peg.
I'm gonna try it again.
But that Bob's
I
got.
mean,
Bob's
Okay.
got.
What is usually the protocol that everything goes through the chair? That way there, he's not blindsided. If something comes up, he already knows about this. It's always been something that I always wanted. I remember one guy who got blindsided, didn't know it was coming, and he took a pretty good hit on it. Everything should go through the chair. That's what he is here for. That way there, he knows. And the question should actually go back to him and send it back.
Yep.
Okay.
I know it's a long process, but it
No,
avoids.
that's.
No, and Bob, and I
Yeah,
appreciate
yeah.
it. That's the reason I wanted to
Yeah,
ask
that's
the
why I was bringing
question.
it
How
up,
do we
is
do it?
how we
Right.
do it. And
Yeah.
that's probably a better way of doing it. I'll do some more research. I do know there's been, I don't want to say memorandums or whatever, writings from New Hampshire departments of whatever that talk about being careful that you don't, especially like me send a message, an email to Bob, he sends it to you, you send it to Tam, and that's kind of circumventing the meeting process. I'll do a little bit more research into how directly we can communicate, because there you're sort of doing business. It's not, hey, Peg, what is the meaning of this? It's it's almost, and that's the only reason I'm a little cautious about. But send it to me, and then I'll forward it to whoever. Whatever question you might have, I'll forward it to whoever needs to get them, and
I just
But, yeah.
would prefer to do that, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
That way there, you are aware that something going, and somebody
Yeah.
comes to tell you about it, I already know it.
yeah.
Okay.
So anyways, with that in mind, and again, I'd read the
Yeah,
RSA,
yeah.
I never saw anything that said I couldn't ask the question.
Yeah, like I
but
said,
That's what I want to
Yeah.
give to Peg to make it
Yeah, yeah.
easier to
Yeah,
answer
we-
those
we-
questions.
You had it down to
Hey, Laura,
It's
we
totally
just made
legal.
the chair.
Oh,
perfect. Yeah.
But we did it officially as part of the meeting.
It's part of the meeting. The issue is, yeah.
Oh, I love it.
And one of the reasons there's been so much concern related to this and is also kind of tied to one of the reasons why such a large percentage of the towns now have 5 selectmen. Because when you have 3, if one emails the other, that's a meeting.
Yep.
You now have a quorum.
Yep.
If one person of a committee of 9 or 8 emails one person, that's not a meeting. But when you only have 3 people,
It's not a quorum, yeah,
that is
quorum
a
is the other
quorum.
one, right.
But
Quorum issue.
there's also verbiage in the, whatever you call these things, writings they put out, about being careful that you're not emailing to circumvent it. And not that that would happen, but it's just, and that's why I just want to make sure we're a little careful.
All the more reason why,
Yeah.
like I said, I raised
Yeah.
it as a question.
Yeah,
here.
that's good. Anybody else have anything?
Mr. Chairman, I
Yes,
do,
Bob.
but I thought you had some idea about changing something about I think, let me put it this way. What Mr. Williams mentioned the last time about having one presentation, I have put a draft together.
Yep.
But it would have to be acceptable to the selectmen, and this committee would have to agree to it.
You mean to have
One
one
presentation
presentation of the budget, so the questions all get asked, answered then, and
Because,
then,
yeah, it's everybody hears the same thing, this is what he brought up.
yep,
I put something in place, I even put a calendar together when we should start. The only ones really gonna benefit by this is the department heads, because they only show up one time. The other, maybe the budget committee, well, we would meet on the same day all the way through, but that's meeting every day until it's over. I think it's about like 7 weeks. And I already put the budgets, small ones, during their regular meetings, because they have an agenda.
Yep.
If it's light, they can take the small ones, and the next one, there's nothing in it. I put a few big ones in there, shouldn't take us more than maybe a couple hours, if not less. And I put some of the protocols that we need to use. And I don't know if there's any interest in this board. You'd have to see it, but
yeah, I think bring it up and send it to me. I'll send it out to your proposed calendar. I'll send it out to the committee. I think we're all in favor of.
well, this is what I thought you had in mind earlier.
Sorry, apologies. But yeah, this is sort of what the department head, meeting with the department heads, that's more getting us more familiar with the line items in each budget, so that, because invariably at every presentation, well, what's this for, what's that for? If we meet ahead of time, hopefully we can reduce that. We don't have that during the budget presentations. And then your joint meeting, the joint meeting where the department heads present their big presentation, where they go into detail about the lines once to the selectmen and the board and the budget committee. Then the selectmen do their dicing of the budget. They give that to us and we do it, but we have already sat through the presentation. And if we come up with another question or two, we can forward that to the department head, say, what's, further clarification or something. But getting rid of the two long presentations that they have to present. Because it is, why, they're presenting the same information, why present it twice?
Well, it's also, you all hear the same questions at the same
Correct.
time.
Exactly. We hear the same things that, Board of Selectmen hear the same things that we hear the same things they hear.
But the thing is, you would have to see the schedule. It starts early enough, we could be done before Thanksgiving. And it would give us a chance, it would give us a small break, we could be done, we could start the school, which I have figured out at December 4th. It would be a week and a half, because if it works out right, but that doesn't mean everything's gonna work.
Yeah.
But the selectmen will have to be involved in it, and what it is, Mr. Trent, it's a draft.
Yeah, no, that's
You people would have to put some input in there,
Yeah.
but as proceeding though, I don't know how that will work.
we'll figure it out.
You get really comfortable.
It'll be in the fall, so it'll be cool that we can get some windows.
Cozy and comfortable.
But
Or we could possibly meet at the fire station where it's got more room.
yeah,
We need to make sure we have the video.
Possible, I don't know, that's why I'm asking you. School,
Yeah,
someplace,
yeah.
wherever we get
yeah,
the
yeah.
room to do it.
It's we can. But yeah. Send me the calendar. We can send it. Then we can start. We can work now, because now's the time to work on fleshing that out, so that we're ready when it would come time. But I'm all in favor of a single large presentation from the department heads.
If you could send one to Mr. Rawson,
Yeah.
so he can bring it to the selectmen to see if they agree. I
Yeah,
know the
oh, yeah.
department heads will agree
Yeah.
with that. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what they want, but,
Yeah, I'll copy everybody here with it.
but I need input from everybody, because it's a draft.
Yeah. Well,
Yes.
I'll send it out. We'll put it on the agenda for next
All
for
right.
the next meeting. We'll get it hashed out then. There's a couple of Board of Selectmen's meetings before then. Hopefully they can talk about the idea, among themselves, see if they're in favor of it. We'll settle on dates and
Okay,
go from there. I personally think it's a great idea.
but meeting every Monday though,
yeah.
Mr. Chairman, that's going to be a lot. I mean, we'd have to sit, you're gonna have to have a quorum, because I don't know what size their agenda is, but little budgets in there, we can get rid of them real quick.
We'll give us and we'll
Okay.
figure it out.
All right,
All right.
good enough.
Yes, Dave.
And I think just trying to find the edge cases, the only potential is the fact that, yes, we're going to have that. They're going to be dollar amounts. but those aren't going to be the final dollar amount. So we're going to need at least we're going to need at least some kind of summary from each of the departments as to, okay, in the presentation, line item 53, you had this amount of money, but by the time we get it to where we actually approve it or not, it's a different amount of money
Yeah.
because the selectmen
Yeah.
made changes to it.
But
So
in
we'll get a
the-
majority of the information, but
Yeah.
we won't get all of it.
Yeah, in the budget form, you'll see the request, the
Yes.
the board of
Question.
selectmen's request, and it
Approval,
comes
right.
to us, and then we fill in that next column.
Yeah.
Peg, you had.
Yeah, I think I said the last time that I actually sat through, not this past year, but the prior year's budget presentations to the selectmen, and then heard the presentations here, and it was almost as if I had been in two different places.
Yeah, see, that's why if we have
So I
once,
think hearing the first time when they're presenting to
Yep.
the selectmen, or hearing just one presentation, absolutely. I think it's a great idea.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
it's just the idea that they are the governing body.
Oh,
yeah.
They have to answer to them. Us, we are just the appropriations.
Yep.
And to David's point, that budget can change anywhere. And one thing to remember, it is our budget.
oh yeah,
So
yeah.
it has to agree with them or us, but I will say one thing, we didn't have a joint meeting together this year. We were on our own pretty much. So I think this is the new trend that I was told that you didn't need us. It's our budget going to them.
Yeah, and that's,
Well, I was not ready for that, Mr. Chairman, because I got caught and we almost didn't get the budget through.
Yep. well, but I think send the calendar out, we'll get it on the agenda, hopefully
I'm
the,
certainly in favor of it. Like,
Yeah.
speaking for myself, I'm sure
Yeah.
Aaron probably is the same, but I'm, like
yeah,
I said.
yeah, I think reducing the number of times that department heads have to come to us, have to present this stuff, they present it to the selectmen, present it to us, then they go to town meeting and present it again. If they're here at the public hearings or present it,
It
You know,
frees
if we
up
can
time
re-
for all of us
Yeah.
when we do it that
Yeah.
way, so.
The only thing about this, Mr. Chairman, is that it's Mondays all the way through. We don't zigzag.
and if we decide that that's something we can't do when we look at the calendar, okay, we can't do it. That's,
We're gonna have to have it out. There's not much leeway though.
yeah, we'll figure that out.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, we can look at the schedule. I know they have regular meetings Mondays. It doesn't mean that we couldn't possibly make an adjustment to have a couple meetings in a week.
We-
Try to shorten it, that's all. I mean, I hear
Yeah.
what you're saying, Bob.
But
You know?
usually when they have their meetings, it's short enough and they take a few budgets at a time. They did
Yeah.
last year.
Yeah, we'll
Take
figure
a
it
few
out.
small ones. It depends on the amount of work you have to do on your
Yeah,
agenda.
yeah, and maybe it's, okay, the Mondays that they don't have the regular selectmen's meetings, those Mondays in October or whenever we do this
Yeah.
process, that's when, we have 2 long Mondays where we're presenting, the budget gets presented.
Okay, some of those
Something like
empty Mondays, I
Maybe.
put the big budgets in there.
Yeah,
Maybe 2.
We'll look at the schedule and
We'll
we'll
look at
go
it.
from there. Schedule's
I
the
know
first
through
step.
budget season, at least when I was chair, I try to keep the agenda low.
Yeah. So we'll take a look at the agenda.
I'll just send it, and I need
Yeah.
feedback though.
Oh, no.
because there's
Yeah,
some holes in
I'll
it.
send it out to people. People respond back to me with feedback, and we'll distribute it.
Well, it's just
Okay, I got the feeling that, are we at the end of the agenda?
Public comments? No
Public?
public? I don't think we have any.
She left.
Okay, our next meeting is gonna be
Put it in, didn't I?
the 3rd Wednesday in May, I
What, the
think.
Yeah.
third
Come on.
Tuesday?
Tuesday?
3rd Tuesday, what did I say, 3rd Wednesday?
Yeah,
I was testing you, seeing if you're paying attention.
Well done.
Doug was paying attention.
absolutely.
Okay,
I have
looks
it on
like
my
the
calendar.
3rd Tuesday in May will be the 21st. I saw 20th and it said BOS, and I'm like, that's not right. It will be the 21st will be our next meeting.
Happy early birthday.
I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
What?
That's my birthday. I said I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
So Andy may not be here for our next meeting. He may be
We'll
celebrating.
bring you cake.
Turning
How's
28
that,
again, right?
okay?
I'll be here.
We'll bring you
Just one
cake.
question before you
Yeah.
adjourn.
I won't bake it. You won't want it if I bake it.
For real.
Justin Bellin, was he excused? He was not here
I
tonight?
did not hear from Justin.
Okay, you have him as absent or
Yep. Okay.
excused?
Okay.
He's absent since we don't have him as excuse.
Okay.
Okay. Anybody else have anything? Peg, did I see your hand?
Can I make a motion to adjourn?
Please.
Second.
I think I
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We are adjourned until this
Mr.
time
Bogart.
in May.
Yes, dear. Yes, dear.
Just call me
Yeah,
Lauren.
we still are.
Yeah,
Lauren
be
Ball.
careful what you
Yeah, there
say.
you go.